why are you so politically active? Was there any event or series of events in your personal history that politicized you?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I've done. I'm in my early 40s. I live on a main street in a middle class or upper middle class almost New England town. My wife teaches at a boarding school. My kids go to good schools. I personally don't have a lot of money, but I'm not. I mean, if my kids need something, I'm able to provide for them, and I feel very lucky to do that. I've done a lot of different things in my background. One of the things I did was I was a high school teacher. I taught theater. Now, I taught theater on the fringes of Washington, D.C. in PG County at a place called Suitland High School, which was among the most dangerous communities and dangerous high schools in the country. I mean, there was literally a police helicopter hovering above my school every day. I had hand grenades and knives and guns in my classroom while we're trying to do Shakespeare. I mean, and then I went from that community to teaching in the prep school world at a place called the Petty School in Hightstown, New Jersey, right next to Princeton, that had an endowment of about $780 million. So I got to produce plays at this school that had a bigger budget than when I used to produce plays in New York off Broadway. So I only mention that as a long way to answer your question about what got me involved, in that you see teenage kids in theater in one community that is just so ravaged and poor, and they can't look past how are they going to eat that night, or how are they going to protect their family, or walking home from school through a kind of a maze of drug dealers and crime, and other teenagers in a situation where they're going to a 400-acre high school campus for 500 kids, so almost an acre per kid, with a school. It costs $42,000 a year to go to that high school. If you would take those kids from Suitland, and you take those kids from the edge of D.C. and put them in that boarding school environment, their whole life would change. And to me, that inequity is just wrong. It's just, I mean, I'm not a policy wonk. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm a broad stroke kind of person. So when I see those two juxtapositions, I just think that it's wrong, and it's a product of this kind of hyper-capitalist society that we live in. This idea that the most important thing is the next quarter's earnings statement, and that drives policy, that drives decisions, and that's embedded in the American dream. So I think the American dream as it exists today should be euthanized.
We both worked on Dennis Kucinich's presidential campaign in 2008. I guess, could you talk a little bit about why? I mean, I'm sure a lot of the reasons are going to be the same. What brought you to work for Dennis Kucinich? And then I have a follow-up question after that.
I started doing YouTube videos in 2007, and right around that time, YouTube was... Look, news and politics videos on YouTube is the smallest niche there is, but YouTube, like any other media organization, maintains tries to maintain a certain amount of credibility by developing news content. So if people remember that YouTube partnered up with CNN during these presidential debates, and I was one of maybe 6 or 7 people doing political commentary on YouTube at the time, so they tapped me, and at the time I was performing using an alias under the name Davis Fleetwood. I was doing a show called The Hermit with Davis Fleetwood, and Davis Fleetwood was promoting Dennis Kucinich, and Davis Fleetwood's videos were getting many, many, many more views than Dennis Kucinich's videos. So Dennis Kucinich's campaign reached out to me and offered me a job, and that's how I stumbled into working for Dennis Kucinich and getting to know him and working and traveling around the short time that his presidential campaign was active.
Have your views evolved since then? Could you compare your political worldview then compared to today?
Yeah, sure. I thought then, if we just elected better Democrats, that we could get something done. And I thought Kucinich was a better Democrat. This is a little bit difficult to say, but after working closely with him on the campaign, I think his ideas were brilliant, and I think that maybe it would have been a great cabinet pick. I don't know that I want Dennis Kucinich running the office, just because I know how the campaign was run and how confusing and disorganized it was. And that a part of that is a product of not having as much money as John Edwards and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, but part of it wasn't. So I no longer think that electing better Democrats is going to get us anywhere. I think that the system is completely not screwed up. The system is working exactly as it's supposed to be. The Dow closed at a record high yesterday, as we're facing a sequester that's going to go on forever, or we don't know how long it's going to go on. And as you know, why? Because most people who are affected by the stock market are not going to be affected by any austerity measures. They play that 1% plays, over 50% of the market is played by 1% of the population. My views have changed towards the more radical, towards the reform ideas to revolutionary ideas. I think that we need a revolution in this country. I think that the path that the United States is on is one that is destructive to the world. I think that the empires, right? Every empire in the history of the world has collapsed or been taken down. The United States is the first empire to exist in this post-nuclear era. So we have to figure out a way to bring this puppy down safely, because it's going to come down, right? We know that. It's a fact. Heat goes to cold. Everything lives, breathes, and empires are going to fall. But we don't fight wars with pickaxes anymore. So the problem is that how is this empire going? How is the world going to shift into China ruling the world, if they don't already, without a major world kind of disruption? And that's the only language that we know. It's the only that's what most of our entire foreign policy decisions are about: leveraging power and maneuvering for the World War III.
Do you have any advice for folks who are looking to get politically active?
Yeah, I guess, like to paraphrase maybe Kurt Cobain, hate your enemies, love your friends, find your place, and speak your truth.
You're watching The Punk Patriot, to life, liberty, in pursuit of a less fucked up government. If you like this video, please donate what you think it was worth. You can find the link down in the description of the video. Also, let me know what you think in the comments section. Please share this video with your friends and your enemies. The only way that this channel will expand is through word of mouth and people like you. So thank you very much. Peace.